Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Kev's Movie Corner. I am Kev, and this week we are talking about The French Connection. This movie was released in 1971. It stars Gene Hackman, Roy Scheider, and Fernando Rey. Synopsis is a pair of NYPD detectives in the Narcotics Bureau stumble into a heroin smuggling ring based in Marseille, France, but stopping them and capturing their leaders proves an elusive goal. It is a action thriller, cop drama type thing. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long, and it was a pretty good movie. There's a lot of, it's an action thriller movie, so it's a pretty good movie. It does look a little old at times, but overall it was pretty good. It starts briefly in France, where you kind of meet the dealers, and then quickly jumps to the two cops, the buddy cops in I don't know if you'd call them buddy cops necessarily, but the cops, Jimmy, Popeye, Doyle, and Buddy Cloudy Russo, who are played by Hackman and Schneider in Brooklyn. And it starts with them basically starting with a drug bust. Doyle, Popeye, is dressed up in a Santa costume, talking to kids, and when Cloudy runs into a bar and then basically finds drugs and chases out one guy, and they both chase down a guy and arrest him for drugs. And I thought it was interesting because one of the facts on here said that this is based on a book, or it's written off of a book, which is based on two actual cops from the 60s, or it's a book from the 60s based on two actual cops who were in their narcotics unit in New York, Eddie Egan and Sonny Grosso, who fought drugs coming into the U.S., drug smuggling coming into the U.S. from France in the 1960s and early 70s. So it's based on true events. A lot of the characters, even though their names have been changed, they're kind of loosely based on actual people. So, and I thought it was interesting because I did see that the Santa costume was something that apparently these two cops, Egan and Grosso, used to do because they figured out that dealers could spot undercover cops, so they would dress up in a Santa. One of them would dress up in a Santa costume when they started singing Jingle Bells. They would, the other one would run in to do the arrest, and that way they could hide from the drug dealers right under their noses, basically. So I thought that was interesting. But anyway, they arrest this guy. They kind of question him about where all the drugs are coming from. And that night they go out to a bar. They see a bunch of people kind of gather around at a table that are all spending a bunch of money at this bar, with a lawyer who's known to be a drug buyer in kind of a big drug buyer. And they decide to tail a bunch of these people Um, they eventually get approval from their boss to kind of stake this out and keep following them and surveilling them. And then you kind of have back and forth, jumping back and forth between the smugglers and the cops trying to find them. You've got the drug smugglers who kind of realize this is going on. They're being surveilled, so they bring over. You see them bring over the drugs in a car, or what you believe is the drugs in a car. They realize they're being surveilled, so they actually fly from New York to Washington, D.C. to have a meeting so that they can get away from the cops. The cops follow them. One of the cops follows them there. And when the smugglers are flying back, one of them decides that he wants to take out Popeye. And the leader says, no, let's not do that. They'll just get another cop on the case. And he says, well, it won't matter because we'll be done and gone before it's over with anyway. So, anyway, they come back. The two end up getting kicked off the case before Popeye is shot at from his apartment. An assassin, a sniper, goes to the top of his apartment and starts shooting at him when he's coming home one day. After that, you get this big chase scene through New York. He chases him down to the subway. And the shooter gets on the subway. Popeye misses it. Doyle misses it. And he commandeers a citizen's car and then chases the subway elevated. It's an elevated section of the subway in New York, and chases it under the bridge or under the road for a while, running into other cars, barely missing pedestrians and others, until eventually the train crashes into another, and he sees the suspect getting off and shoots him. After this, they find the car that has been brought over with the drugs in it. They follow it around. It gets left. Popeye believes that it's a bad car, a hot car. It gets left down by the water. Overnight, they sit there and watch it. A bunch of guys come around a couple times to try to keep looking at the car. They arrest those guys who claim that they're not doing anything. They're just trying to basically chop the car. So they take the car into impound. They strip it apart. They can't find anything. That's when Cloudy realizes that the car is actually heavier than it's supposed to be. 120 pounds heavier than it's supposed to be. So they look a little, they search a little more, and they find drugs. At this point, the French owner of the car, is in there trying to get the car back. He's arguing with police. Why is my car here? It was stolen. It shouldn't be here. Whatever. So the police get another car that looks exactly the same, put the drugs back in it, give him the car, and they take it to a little workshop out in the middle of nowhere, or under a bridge in New York. And take all the drugs, do the buy basically, take all the drugs out of it, put the money for the sale in a different car that they had bought at trashed car that they had bought at an auction. They're going to send back to France. And as they're driving the car away, the police show up and they have blocked them in. They all swarm the area. The police all swarm the area. Most of the people involved, which there's dozens of them, surrender. The leader runs into an abandoned building where he is chased by Popeye and eventually Cloudy and a federal officer. And while Popeye is around there chasing him through there, kind of in the dark, he sees him running across, and he sees somebody step out, and he open fires at him, and it ends up being the federal officer who he shoots and kills. And he tells Cloudy that he's gonna get. He seems unfazed by it, and he tells Cloudy that he's gonna get the other guy. He's gonna get him no matter what. And you see him kind of walk off in the distance and around the corner where he disappears, and you hear one gunshot, and that's where the movie ends. And then it just pops up on the screen, details, kind of like a lot of movies do that are based on true stories about like what happened to the people. It says that they were both the cops were reassigned out of the narcotics unit. The leader was never found. He's suspected to be living in France, and then a few others were either had suspended sentences or were given relatively short jail sentences for their crimes. So that's pretty much where the movie ends. Like I said, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. This was it was nominated for 8 Academy Awards. It won 5 of them, including Gene Hackman winning for Best Actor. It also won Best Picture and Best Director. Couple things that I found interesting about this is that was it the producer or the director? I don't remember which one, but anyway, whichever one it was, said that there was so little budget they were given for this that they didn't actually build any sets. The budget for this movie was right around $2 million. It made $75 million, which is, I mean, that's good money, but you know, so yeah, apparently they didn't build any sets for this. It's all pretty much most of it shot in New York. If you go on like Wikipedia, it's got a list of all the different locations that they filmed at. Yeah, Washington D.C., New York, and Marseille. So the road chase scene is actually considered one of the best chase scenes in movie history. And a lot of this movie was filmed apparently without getting the proper permits, so including this chase scene. They were approved to do it, and a lot of the traffic was coordinated by NYPD, but they went outside of where they were supposed to go, apparently. So they got into areas with actual traffic and with actual pedestrians. So they were actually dodging real traffic and pedestrians, which is not good. Which I thought was interesting and also terrible. The leader of the transit authority at the time also asked for, what did he ask for? He asked for, where'd it go? $40,000 and a one-way ticket to Jamaica to approve the permit, because he reportedly said that when the movie comes out, I'm for sure going to be fired, which he was for negligence. So, which if you've got a car that's just randomly driving around New York City without the proper permits, that's probably not the smartest thing ever. Apparently they were not supposed to crash the car as much. The car did crash in a couple of the scenes, or in a couple of the times in that chase scene. They were supposed to be misses, from what I understand is, but there was some issues with timing, so there was a couple crashes during that chase scene. And also, this said that that Hackman and Scheider went on patrol with the actual officers for a month to get a feel for how they what it was actually like to be on these cases. So that's interesting, a way to get into character, I guess. But yeah, so again, this is an interesting movie. I thought it was really interesting to watch. It was a very good movie. Like I said, about an hour and 45 minutes, so nothing crazy long to watch. It's based on actual events from the 1960s and 70s. So I would recommend for somebody who likes action, police drama, something like that. So I think that is it for this week, though, folks. Next week we're watching The Last Picture Show, which is also from 1971. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you'll watch that one next week with me. And I will talk to you guys then.